what do you think are the reddest baby names in this country and the bluest baby names in this country? What are some red baby names you think and blue baby names? Nameberry did a study and they pulled the top 10 baby names in red states and in blue states for both boys and girls. So let's talk a little bit about them. All right. So here are the boy names, the bluest boy names from the blue states. Okay. In first place, we have Moshi. Then we have Santino. Then we have Mohammed. Next is Yusuf. Then we have Kieran, Ari, Aiden, Ibrahim, Ali, and closing out in 10th place, Nico. 72% of the Nicos in this country, you can find them in blue states. Whereas 97% of the Moshis in this country, you can find in blue states. So what are some of the things that you notice off of that? For me, right off the bat, I noticed that in blue states, many of the boys' names are foreign names, right? They're not canonically American names or British names as most American what would be considered American names are. We have international names: Santino, Muhammad, Kieran, Ibrahim, Nico, Moshi. Moshi is a Jewish name. So I think it's just it's interesting that in the blue states, you're going to see a lot of boys who are named with international, non-traditional American sounding names. Let's look at the bluest. Let's look at the boy names in the red states. These are the reddest boy names. Are you ready? In first place, we have Cohen with a K. Then we have Baylor. Next is Stetson. Then we have Kyson, Kyson. Then we have Tripp with 2 P's. Next is Sutton. Next is Briggs with 2 G's. Next is Cohen with a C. So we had Cohen with a K. Now we have Cohen with a C. Then we had Gunner. And last, Baker. So these are the most prevalent names, baby boy names in red states. Off bat, these names are giving us salt of the earth. They're giving us Americana. They're giving us cowboys, right? Stetson, Baylor, Briggs, Gunner. Gunner's an interesting name to choose in the era of mass shooting, but hey, what am I gonna say? The red states love them guns, okay? Tripp, right? These are very masculine, very, I work with my hands. I go hunting and I go fishing and I go trapping, right? Very like manly man kind of names. Also interesting that Cohen is on there twice, spelled different ways. And of course, we have these names spelled with K's where they typically would be a C. It's very I ain't surprised. Let's take a look at the bluest girls' names. All right. In the blue states, these are the most popular girl baby names in blue states. First, we have Fiona. Next is Liana. Then we have Mira. Then we have Mariam. Then we have Kira, Miriam, Nina, Aisha, Paige, and Kayla. So it's interesting, in the blue states, many of the girls' names are very feminine names, right? A lot of them are ending with A's, which is interesting. You would think that the red states would have like the traditionally feminine type of names, but no. You're seeing that mostly in the blue states. Also, you're seeing some diversity in these names too. Aisha, Miriam, Liana, Mira, right? You're seeing Fiona. You're seeing some diversity. Nina in these. That these make sense. These names make sense. I guess the era of like the old school names, the Dotties and the Hatties, I guess that's over now. Let's take a look at the reddest girl names. All right, these are the reddest girl baby names in the country based on the last election. In first place, we have Hattie. Then we have Oakland, Oakley, Gracelyn, Ranley with a W, Blakely, Collins, a gender neutral name, Oakley with a, again, spelled Oaklee. The first one was Oakleigh. Then we have Sailor in 9th place, and in 10th place, Oakley again for the win. This time spelled the traditional way, Oakley. These are the reddest girl names in this country. We got Oakland, Oakley, and Oakley. Oakley spelled 3 different ways, and Oakland, they're loving them nature names. They're loving that oak tree, okay? Also, you notice a lot of their names are gender neutral, which is interesting. You wouldn't necessarily assume that from red states that their names would be gender neutral as much as they are. We have, Collins and Oakley and Sailor. Sailor is spelled Saylor. These, millennials, y'all love a unique spelling on a name, honey. It's giving this is a name I came up with in 8th grade, and I've been attached to it ever since. But yeah, that Oakley, that Oakland, that Graceland, it's very, very Southern, if you will. So those are the reddest names and the bluest names based on the last election. And with that being said, folks, we've come to the end of another episode of No Niche Zone. You can follow us across all platforms at No Niche Zone Pod. You can subscribe to our YouTube. You can follow me personally at Pris the Goddess across all platforms. And you can send in your listener letters to nonichezone@gmail.com. With that being said, folks, we'll see you next time.